and being advised of the potential penalties for perjury, do you promise to tell the truth? Full name for the record. Rose Dotzenrod. That's Dotzenrod. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Jordy.
Thank you. Ma'am, to pick up where we left off, your son, Ben, had talked about what he believed to be a January 2023 new offer where the route hadn't changed, reflective of the desires he expressed to Summit. Can you confirm if, in fact, you received that in January of 2023?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Ms. Dotzenrod, yeah, do you want to pull that a little closer so we can hear you? Thank you.
Now, again, ma'am, I know you have a lot to talk about, and in the interest of time, is it okay with you if I pass out your packets? Okay.
Yes, please.
May I pass this out?
Should I begin speaking or just wait?
Mr. Pelham is assisting us. We appreciate that. And you've assembled some documents. And I don't know, ma'am, if we need to go through every single one in detail, but I do want you obviously to have your opportunity to share information that maybe your son hadn't touched on. And so with that, I guess we should mark this. Should this be RD1, Your Honor? Or?
Yeah, let's do that, RD1.
Okay. So ma'am, what we've marked at RD1 is a binder that you yourself have put together. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the first several pages of that have to do with aerials of your property and what is the, before we get into it, just generally what would be the gist or the point of you discussing those pages?
Things that are relative to the property that we own and my son farms.
Okay, as to your concerns about this project?
Yes.
All right, and you know, I wonder, Your Honor, since we've got a lot of different things in here, I wonder if I should maybe, I don't know, if we can partially offer. Well, let's try this. I'll offer the whole binder, and then if we have problems, we'll just go through it one by one. So I offer RD1.
Any objection, Mr. Malberg? I know there's a lot of documents in here.
Maybe it's a lot of documents, and within each of these folders, there's some clips, and I would not like to not object to documents that I don't know the content of.
Okay, so we'll hold off. Maybe if you could just proceed with her testimony and...
That's fine, and then maybe re-offer it as we go.
Sure.
Okay, yep. All right, so if, again, ma'am, it might be easier if I ask you an open-ended question as to the maps. It looks like pages or the inserts of starting with the map that shows the route and then going in about 6 more inserts are all various aerials of your land. Is that correct?
Yes. On the second page, there's 133 and 134 that shows the pipeline as it crosses our property. It's at the bottom of one page and at the top of the next page.
And just for reference, ma'am, the commission now does have that first and second easement, which also show the Summit provided aerial in terms of the orientation of the pipeline.
That is correct.
All right. And in terms of those aerial exhibits that we've just discussed, is there anything specific you'd like to discuss?
Not at this time.
All right. And then if we go to what appears to be the next non-aerial map is some type of a document that says Summit Carbon Solutions at the top. Is that right?
Maybe.
Oh, do you want to pause there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. On page 81, I circled with pink highlighter that the pipeline is going straight and then makes 2 sharp 90-degree turns.
All right, and you've got an 81 handwritten in the upper right-hand corner of that aerial map.
That is the internet page numbers.
Okay. And what are you intended to show by highlighting or circling that?
I just thought it was
90-degree
interesting that apparently the pipeline company had the potential to do that.
to make 90-degree turns.
Correct. Short distances.
Have you been told or led to believe that they somehow, quote unquote, can't move the route as you desire because they're unable to make 90-degree turns?
That had been inferred, but, I won't say that they did not comment on that directly to me.
All right, and then we'll walk through this together. If we turn to the next page that you're showing there, what's the significance of that page?
So the significance of this page here, it's the northwest of 26, 135, 51, zoom out. This is a picture that was gotten off of the internet from the Richland County mapping service of drain tile. And it shows what land is tiled, what land is not tiled. Our quarter has a star on it. It shows that our quarter drains by gravity and some use a lift pump. And this is information that I shared with numerous Summit agents, and they had no interest in that information.
And when you say they had no interest in the information, why is that a problem? What are you trying to express that you believe they didn't have interest in?
I have been concerned about the soil conditions, the instability of the soil, and with the tiling and the cutting of the tiles, and that there are options available to them, and Richland County website has this information, and they have a very helpful technological advisor who will answer questions, and they were not interested in it.
All right. And then do you want to discuss the second page that shows the quarter in green there?
Right, and that's just a close-up of our quarter. It's basically the same, from the same mapping service.
All right, then let's go to the next one, and now we're at that appears to be some type of a letter from a Wade Beauchamp from Summit Carbon. What do you believe the significance of this document is?
On page 2, there is a star in the highlighted statement. Summit Carbon Solutions has provided life of project warranty for drain tile within the right-of-way. They state within the right-of-way. However, as Ben previously testified, it seems very likely that there will be problems beyond the right-of-way. For example, if there are breaks and the tile lines fill up with soil.
And we established that the right-of-way, the permanent right-of-way is 50 feet, and is your point that the tile lines extend beyond the 50 foot in many ways, and an issue within that 50 foot could cause other problems elsewhere?
Correct.
All right, but yet they're only claiming, at least in this letter, what we learned not in the easement, to warranty within the 50 foot.
Only within the right-of-way.
All right. Okay, and then what are you looking at there? Did we page forward a couple pages?
I'm sorry if I have them out of order, but this is 144 from the internet. And I framed in pink highlighter. If you look, it shows up better on the electronic version, but there is discoloration of the land running parallel to the railroad. And I believe that is where pipelines were previously installed. And I'm not sure, but it would seem to indicate that the productivity in that area is still diminished.
All right, and what's next?
The Farmers Union letter.
All right, did you have some concern about whether or not you are able to obtain insurance coverage to protect yourself from liability against any risks or spills that may occur?
Absolutely.
And have you taken any steps to determine if you can in fact if you in fact already have coverage that would protect you if Summit CO2 were to leak from your property and injure somebody.
In this letter, the way I interpret it is that we do not have coverage.
All right. And have you made any attempts to inquire if you could purchase a rider or purchase additional coverage above and beyond your homeowners or general liability or farm policy?
We have been requesting this letter for quite some time. We just received it. It's quite shocking to me. But so at this point, no, we have not, although I'm sure it would be expensive. You would certainly think so.
And have you had any conversations or have it come to understand that CO2 is classified as a pollutant and therefore liability policies exclude CO2 from within the pollution exclusion exception?
Yes.
All right. And then did you take that to mean that if damage is caused by CO2, that would be excluded from your policy coverage?
Correct.
All right, what's the next page?
The resolution, Richland County resolution.
And what's the significance of that?
Significance of the resolution is that the Richland County Commission on March 15th of last year voted unanimously to be opposed to eminent domain for the Summit Carbon Pipeline.
All right, let's go to the next one now.
This is web soil survey data. It's from the USDA, NRCS, and it is specific to the schoolhouse quarter. There are 4 similar reports in here, and they deal with different topics such as shallow infiltration of the systems, deep infiltration systems, shallow excavations, and corrosion of steel. There's a high impact, and probably for the interest of time, that's something that they would want to review on their own.
And again, just summarize, that's government data and that you intend to show it to express what point?
Well, give me a moment here and I'll find it. So, for example, infiltration shallow, it shows that specific to this quarter, it's severely limited on all soil types on this quarter. In the infiltration deep, it is severely limited on all soil types on this quarter. The infiltration rates have relevance because through Ben's implemented conservation farming practices, infiltration rates have greatly improved. My understanding, improved infiltration rates mean a lot less soil erosion and nutrient loss. Nutrient and soil losses go into ditches, rivers, and streams. The shallow excavations is severely limited on all soil types, and corrosion of steel is high on all soil types on this quarter. Excavations and corrosion have relevance because of project installation and long-term integrity of the project. The schoolhouse quarter has a high water table and unstable soil. The proposed pipeline placement on our land will dramatically create further soil instability.
Okay, very good. And then what do we have next?
The next is the letter from the surveyors, the North Dakota, Society of Professional Land Surveyors. It addresses their concerns regarding blanket easements and strip easements. As I understand the easement that I read, it is a blanket easement that they have, which is problematic.
Ma'am, were you here when I had the exchange with Mr. Powell about that very issue, the access easement? And I believe the testimony was something to the effect that the landowner determines that. Has that been your experience?
Not at all, no.
And in the easement you actually received, did it, to your understanding, have any language or any discussion at all that you were in charge of the access easement?
No,
And is it your understanding from the access easement that in fact they can access the property wherever, whichever way they want to get to their right of way?
that is my understanding.
All right. What do we have next?
Let me figure that out.
Okay.
I would like to share the history and investment in the schoolhouse quarter if I could.
And what this land means to you?
Exactly.
Go ahead.
About 20 years ago, my husband and I made a major investment. Excuse me. I'm sorry, this is too emotional. I am just going to submit it as written testimony. That's all.
That's fine, ma'am. And if I can try to sum it up, although not as well as you could, suffice it to say, you and your husband have sacrificed and have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this land and depend on it for revenue, depend on it for your son as well, who farms it, and you are extremely concerned with the fact that you don't believe Summit has taken your concern seriously.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else, ma'am, before anything else on this binder or any comments at all?
The Brim Soil Health Study, the main takeaway points from that would be 44% decrease in aggregate stability and 23%. 10 years later, corn yields are still reduced by 23%.
All right. So, Your Honor, with that, I think we've touched on individually each and every subpart of what has been marked as RD1. I would now offer those.
That last document, the Brim pipeline review.
Yep.
Does that top page go with the article and back?
That is an analysis of the review.
Where's this document come from, or article?
I did get it off the internet. I believe it was Ohio University graduate students' thesis, I believe. I'm not positive about that.
And this top page came with it as well?
No, that was analysis that was done after reading the review.
Who drafted the top page?
Ben did.
All right. Mr. Malberg, have you had a chance to? I should note, let's see, the February 11th, 2023 letter from the Society of Professional Land Surveyors. I know that packet's already in the record.
Excuse me, Your Honor. There are a couple of documents that either came in from Mr. Dotzenrod or are already in the record.
Yep.
With respect to the last one, which is the only one that I had pulled out, I don't think there's foundation for the article printed off of the internet. Mr. Ben Dotzenrod could get up and explain to us what this is. I'm okay with that top page coming in if they want it, but the content of a scholarly article where I can't even identify the authors of it, I'm not okay with. I object to just that portion of it coming in.
That's fine, and I won't withdraw it, but I understand the objection and the likely ruling. I might just ask one or two more questions about the cover page that you don't have an objection to.
If the questions are going to be of this witness who just said that somebody else prepared it, then the objection to that is going to be fairly obvious.
Well, mean, Mr. Powell didn't prepare the easements and he can still talk about, I mean, I think that's a little too technical. The question would be, what is the significance, what does she believe the significance of the analysis is? What's the nexus? What's the connection? Anything? So if I could just ask her that question, and then I don't have any more questions for this witness.
Yeah, she can answer that.
The long-term degradation to the soil.
All right, post-soil disturbance of a pipeline installation.
Correct, sorry, yeah.
Okay, we just need to connect the dots. All right, I don't have anything further, Your Honor, and again, I guess I would need to renew the offer, subject to the objection.
Okay. And Mr. Pelham, any objections?
I don't have any objection except for, as noted, I don't believe that there's foundation for the BREM exhibits included in BB, RD1 rather, and would join in that objection.
For all of it, or
No,
just
just
the
for
article?
the BREM study.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna pull the study out because I think there's some foundation issues there, but the rest of it will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
All right. Mr. Malberg, any questions for Ms. Dotzenrod?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Pelham, any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Shook? Commissioner Chrisman?
Regarding your, whichever, toward the middle, the land surveyor's letter, and you don't need to find it, but as I recall from when they testified to us, their concern is that the easements ought to be strip easements and not easements. And if we review the easement offers that came in January of 2022, and the second one in January of 2023, I haven't had time to read them yet, obviously. But are you saying that those are blanket easements that cover the whole quarter?
That's my understanding, yes.
You understand, does that mean it's not clear? Or, I don't know. I don't know what point to take from this.
My understanding is that it's not a strip easement. The easement that has been provided, my understanding is that it is a blanket easement for the entirety of the quarter.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Haugenhofer? No questions. Mr. Dawson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Jordy?
Just one follow-up on Commissioner's question. If you could just briefly pull out the January 2023 easement that was just discussed there, ma'am, and turn to the second page, please. All right, you see there's a subparagraph C that says access easement in the middle of the page.
Yep.
And when you read those few lines that define, that where Summit defines what the access easement is, did you see any limiting language, limiting it to a specific area, or is it your understanding that that allows access from anywhere that they see fit?
I think it looks like they can do whatever they want on that land.
All right.
Also, somewhere in here, they have